Hey y'all, welcome to this FloMarching weekly news segment. I'm Natalie Shelton. Let's talk about stuff. Last week's show was all about the 2026 WGI Color Guard World Championship prelim schedule, and this week it's all about percussion and winds. And in case you forgot, the 2026 WGI Percussion and Winds World Championships is from April 16th through 19th. So not this upcoming week, but next week. We've got a lot to go over, so let's just get right into it and pull up the percussion prelims schedule for April 16th. So let's check out the Thursday, April 16th prelims schedule for UD Arena, which will encompass prelims for Scholastic World and Independent World in percussion. We start off with, I think, a really solid round of groups. We've got Center Grove, James Logan, Fisher's, Walled Lake Consolidated Schools. Their shows are always really interesting every year. I haven't seen their show this year, so I'm excited to see it early at 9:44 a.m. at UD Arena. Another call out is Franklin Central High School. I saw their show a couple weeks ago, and they're doing some really interesting things in terms of instrumentation. At one point, they have 3 drum sets on the floor, so that's super cool. Give them a watch. They go on at 10:06 a.m. Moving on to the second part of Percussion Scholastic World Round 1, we've got Burleson Centennial, Vista Marietta. I talked about them a little bit in our show 2 weeks ago. I really enjoy their show, and I'm super excited to see them back at UD Arena. They go on at 10:36 a.m. And a big call out from this group is Greenwood High School. Just a few weeks ago, they got promoted to Percussion Scholastic World. And to put it into perspective, I want to say that in 2022, they started in Percussion Scholastic Regional A, and now in 2026, they're already at Scholastic World, which is an amazing achievement. I'm really excited to see their show and to see how the crowd reacts to their show. Give them a watch. You're definitely not going to want to miss their performance. They go on at 11:09 a.m. And another show that I'm excited to see in this block is Bridgeland High School. They go on at 11:31 a.m. They're playing super clean and they're moving so well on the floor, so give them a watch as well. We've got a quick break for lunch, and then we go into Percussion Scholastic World Round 2. Foothill High School, I saw them at the Ontario Regional in California a few weeks ago. Their show is incredibly fun. They've got some really interesting props. If you know, you know. And then, of course, we've got Avon High School, a perennial favorite for percussion and for guard. They go on at 1:09 p.m. Their show is really interesting. I love the soundscape that they're creating with some of their props. It kind of gives a little bit of Carolina Crown out of this world vibes. And I'll just leave it at that, and you should give it a watch and let me know what you think. We've got another break at 1:31 p.m. and then we go into the second round of Round 2 for Percussion Scholastic World. We've got Arcadia High School, Buchanan High School, Chino Hills. We've got a lot of California in this group. Arcadia High School, they go on at 1:40 p.m. You're definitely not going to want to miss their show. According to the unofficial rankings that are floating around, they are in first when it comes to Percussion Scholastic World. I really like their show. I think it's definitely a can't miss in this block of stacked groups. And that's all for Percussion Scholastic World. We've just got those 4 blocks going from 9 a.m. to 2:46 p.m. And then we move right on into Percussion Independent World. You've got a lot of fun groups to kick off Percussion Independent World in this first round of competition. RCC, of course, is doing super well this year. According to those unofficial rankings, they're at the top of Independent World. Their show is incredibly fun, incredibly engaging. I really had a fun time watching it in Ontario, and I definitely think you should give them a watch, of course. Not to mention that they are the defending Percussion Independent World Champions. Another added bonus on top of this first block, RCC goes on at 3:43 p.m. They're followed by Matrix, always doing something interesting with the floor. They're really playing with the space that's on their floor this year with their props and moving them around. I definitely think you should give them a watch. They go on right after RCC at 3:54 p.m. Red Wave Cap City, their show is great as well this year. They go on at 4:16 p.m. And then Civitas closes out this first block at 4:27 p.m. We've got a break, And then I think this might be my favorite block from this entire first day at UD Arena. Kicking it off strong with George Mason University. They go on at 4:45 p.m. Wildly fun show. I think that they're capitalizing on the fan engagement and that momentum that they built last year with the George Mason show, and they're just continuing that vibe on this year. They go on at 4:45 p.m., followed by Monarch, MBI, Kaizen. Once again, you should definitely give them a watch. They go on at 5:18 p.m. Recently bumped up to Percussion Independent World, a great story and a very good show. We've got Broken City in here as well at 5:40 p.m., Rhythmic Force at 5:51 p.m., and then closing it out with Redline. Andy shouted them out in our show a couple weeks ago. They go on at 6:02 p.m. We've got a quick break, and then we get right back to it with Percussion Independent World Round 2. You know, I said that the previous block was maybe my favorite, but I don't know. This one might take the cake, actually, now that I'm really looking at it. Okay, so you've got Instinct at 6:55 p.m., and here's the chunk of time that you're not going to want to miss with this block. Infinity at 7:17 p.m., going right into Rhythm X at 7:28 p.m., and then Atlanta Quest at 7:39 p.m., Pulse Percussion at 7:50. This is maybe the best chunk of time, I think, happening in Percussion Independent World on this prelims day one. That is a hard block. I will be sat, and I think you should be too. This whole block is just stacked with good groups. Of course, you've got United Percussion and Blue Knights closing out the block at 8:12 p.m. And then the last block of the day at UD Arena, we start out with Infinity 2 at 8:30 p.m. You've got Resistance, Vigilantes, Connexus, Audio Theater, POW, Meraki, and Music City Mystique closing out the day at 9:47 p.m. I love Mystique's show this year. They're playing some really cool music, and I think that there's no better way to close out day one at UD Arena than with a super high energy show like Music City Mystique's. And that's it for UD Arena for day one. Let's take a look at the next venue, and that is the Nutter Center, where you can see some Percussion Scholastic A prelims action all day. And you're starting off competition at the Nutter Center with a block full of a lot of diverse states. You've got some North Carolina, Ohio, Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida. You've got a little bit of everything in there. And that round goes from 9 a.m. to 9:54 a.m. And then we move into the second part of Scholastic A round one, kicking it off with Kings High School at 10:10 a.m. Temple City High School, they go on at 10:28 a.m. I saw them at the Ontario Percussion Regional. Their show is so fun, and they're performing so well. I definitely think you should give them a watch. Followed by Jordan Elbridge High School. They're local to me, and they're making a lot of waves in New York State. I definitely think you should give their show a watch. Any amount of extra hype that they can get, I think, will go a long way for them. So give them a watch. Round one closes out at 11:04 a.m. with Monarch High School. We've got a quick break, and then we get right back in it with Percussion Scholastic A Round 2 and Live Oak High School kicking off at 11:20 a.m. You've got a lot of Northeast representation in here with Bridgewater Raritan High School, Upper Moreland High School, Stoneman Douglas High School. I like their show a lot this year. They go on at 12:14 p.m. and they close out this first block of Percussion Scholastic A Round 2. A short break, and then we get right back to it with Percussion Scholastic A Round 2 with Mansfield High School at 12:30 p.m. A call out in this block, Alpharetta High School. According to those unofficial rankings, they're actually tied for first with Temple City High School, so definitely give them a watch. They go on at 1:24 p.m. Round 3 kicks off with East Coweta High School at 2:15 p.m. You've got a lot of good groups in this block, like Orion High School, Hardin Valley Academy, Unionville High School, and we close out the block at 3:09 p.m. before we head into a break and kick off into the second part of Percussion Scholastic A Round 3 at 3:25 with Liverpool High School. Troy High School is doing well this season. I like their show. Same with North Allegheny High School. They go on at 3:52 p.m. and Troy High School goes on at 4:19 p.m. They're the last in this little block before we head into Percussion Scholastic A Round 4. Starting off with Ross High School at 5:10 p.m. John C. Bertelbaugh is in this group. It's a good year for that high school out of Phoenix, New York. They go on at 5:28 p.m. Hamilton Southeastern. Yeah, you've got a lot of good groups in this block that goes from 5:10 p.m. to 7:13 p.m. And then the last block of the day at the Nutter Center starts at 6:30 p.m. with Columbus High School from Mississippi. A call out from this block, Everett High School, they're doing really well. I believe they're sitting in the top 5 of the Percussion Scholastic A rankings. They go on at 7:15. And then action at the Nutter Center closes out at 7:24 p.m. with Oak Grove High School from Mississippi. So that's what's going on at the Nutter Center for Percussion Scholastic A. Let's go check out what's happening at the Cintas Center and all of the Percussion Scholastic Open action that's happening on prelims on April 16th. Everything starts at the Cintas Center at 9 a.m. with Mechanicsburg High School. A call out from this block that I'm excited to see is South Lake Carroll High School from South Lake, Texas. They go on second at 9:10 a.m. I like the music they're playing. They've got some Andy Akio in there. Their props are really adding to the visual package of their show overall. I definitely think you should give them a watch. This first block of Percussion Scholastic Open ends at 10 a.m. with Arborview High School, before we go into a break and head into the second half of Percussion Scholastic Open Round 1 action with Saginaw High School at 10:20 a.m. Jordan High School, they're doing well. They go on at 10:50 a.m. The block ends at 11:10 a.m. and then there's a break followed by Percussion Scholastic Open Round 2, kicking off with Plainfield High School at 11:30 a.m. You've got Noblesville High School, they're doing really well. They go on at 12:20 p.m. followed by West Shore School District. They go on right after at 11:30 p.m. Both of those groups, I believe, are in the top 10 of rankings for Percussion Scholastic Open, so give those groups a watch. Eden Prairie is also doing really well this year. They go on at noon. We've got a short break, and then we get into the second half of Percussion Scholastic Open Round 2 action with Chattahoochee High School at 12:50 p.m. Auburn High School from Alabama, they close out the group at 1:40 p.m. They're doing really well this year. Give them a watch. And then we get right back to it at 2:30 p.m. with Tupelo High School kicking off Percussion Scholastic Open Round 3. Zionsville Community High School, I love their shows almost every single year. They go on at 3:20. I just always appreciate when groups do something a little bit differently. Zionsville Community High School have been doing sort of what Matrix does with putting their front ensemble not at the front of their ensemble. I just love their staging. They do everything so cleverly. Give them a watch. There's a break at 3:40 p.m. before we head into the second half of Percussion Scholastic Open Round 3 with Norwalk High School at 3:50 p.m. They're currently in third place, I want to say, in the Percussion Scholastic Open rankings. Kettering Fairmont High School go on at 4:10. Greenfield Central High School go on at 4:20. Southmore High School closes out the group at 4:40 before we head into Percussion Scholastic Open Round 4, kicking off with Trumbull High School at 5:30 p.m. This block is absolutely stacked. Trumbull's doing well. Irondale Combined Schools are doing well. Hempfield's doing well. Victor J. Andrew, the reigning champions for Percussion Scholastic Open. You've got so many good ensembles in this group. This is definitely a block that you're not going to want to miss from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., keeping in mind that all of these times are Eastern time because we're in Ohio. We've got a short break before we close out with the last block of Percussion Scholastic Open action. Gulfport High School at 6:50 p.m. Franklin Community High School, I love watching their shows. They go on at 7 p.m. Pacifica, Downingtown West High School, Bob Jones High School, they had a really fun show last year. I'm excited to see what they're doing this year. They go on at 7:30 p.m. And action for the day closes with Northview High School going on at 7:50 p.m. All right, we're moving right along with the Truist Arena, in which you can see Percussion Independent Open and Percussion Independent A prelims. This first block has a lot of good shows in it, kicking off with OCI at 9 a.m. We've got Modulation Z, they go on at 9:20. Paradigm Percussion, their show is fun this year, they go on at 9:40 a.m. River City Rhythm, 10 a.m. And everything closes off with Old Line Percussion at 10:20 a.m. They're doing really well this season, and I'm excited to see their show. And then we head into Percussion Independent Open Round 2, which is an absolutely stacked block, starting off with Kannapolis Independent at 10:45 a.m. You've got Veritas at 10:55. Their show is definitely a must-watch. They are the defending champions of Percussion Independent Open, so you don't want to miss their show. Spectre's doing well. They go on at 11:15. Imperial Dynasty, they're doing well. They go on at 11:25 a.m. Yeah, Matrix Open at 11:45 a.m. Q2, yeah, they're doing great as well. They're at I think in the top 5 of the unofficial rankings. They go on at 12:05. and close out Percussion Independent Open Round 2. And then we move into Percussion Independent Open Round 3, kicking off with Convergence Indoor Percussion at 1 p.m. Bakersfield College, I really like their show this year. They go on at 1:50 p.m. You should definitely give them a watch. UTSA doing super well this year. They go on at 2 p.m. right after. And everything closes out for Percussion Independent Open Round 3 at 2:20 p.m. with Sparta Indoor Percussion out of San Jose. We've got a quick break and then we head into the last round of Percussion Independent Open action, starting off with Gold Spike Percussion at 2:45 p.m. You've also got United Percussion 2 in this group at 3:05 p.m. You've got Desert Vox 3:15, Infinity 3 at 3:35, Cap City 2, I believe that they're at the top of the rankings for Percussion Independent Open. They go on at 3:45 p.m. You're not going to want to miss their show. And then you've got Sun City Independent closing out Percussion Independent Open action for the day at 4:15 p.m. There's a break, and then we head into Percussion Independent A. We've only got 2 rounds of Independent A action. It starts off with North Coast Academy at 4:35 p.m. You've got Pi Percussion. Their show is really good this year. I'm excited to see them perform. They go on at 4:53 p.m. You've got a great mix of ensembles from all over the place in this block, a little bit of everything for everyone. And this block is closed out by Palmetto Indoor Theater at 6:05 p.m., followed by a break, and Percussion Independent A Round 2 action starts off at 7 p.m. with Ravenwood Indoor Percussion. This is a must-watch block because all of the Percussion Independent A top groups are in this block, which is wild to see. Ravenwood Indoor Percussion, I believe they're in second. You've got Nomad Indoor, who's at the top of the Percussion Independent A table. They go on at 7:45 p.m. And then 202 Indoor Percussion, they go on at 8:21 p.m. Must-watch block. You don't want to miss it. Going from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. What a way to close out all of the action at the Truist Arena, but we've still got one more block to talk about for percussion, and that is the Hobart Arena with concert prelims. All of the concert action is in one place for prelims, so if you're interested in concert action, the Hobart Arena is where you're going to want to tune in. You start off at 11:30 a.m., a little bit of a later start in the day with New Bedford High School kicking off Percussion Scholastic Concert 8. This first block goes until 12:15 p.m. New Bedford's doing really well in concert. I believe that they're in 3rd place with those unofficial rankings, so give them a watch. Got a short break at 12:24 p.m. And then we head into the second block of Percussion Scholastic Concert A prelims with Westside High School at 12:35 p.m. Warren East is doing really well. Then they go on at 12:44 p.m. Another group that's doing really well this season is Canton McKinley High School. They go on at 1:11 p.m. You're not going to want to miss their show. And then Percussion Scholastic Concert A action ends at 1:20 p.m. with East Central High School. There's a break before we get into Percussion Scholastic Concert Open action at 2:10 p.m. with Cleveland High School. You've got a great mix of groups in this block. Ben Davis High School, they go on at 3:30 p.m. Kiski Area High School, they go on at 2:50 p.m. Their show's great. Milford High School from Ohio, they go on at 2:40 p.m. A great block going from 2:10 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. before we head into Percussion Scholastic Concert World action at 3:50 p.m. with Timber Creek High School. Call out in this group, Vista Marietta High School. They go on at 4:45 p.m. You're not going to want to miss their show. They're playing How to Train Your Dragon music. It just sounds absolutely amazing. They have a French horn soloist and everything. Definitely give them a watch. And everything for the day closes out with Tunstall High School at 5:07 p.m. And that is everything for percussion prelims. But don't forget, we've got Winds prelims happening on April 18th on that Saturday. So let's take a quick look at what's going on there. The breakdown for Winds is a little bit different this year than it has been in previous years. You've got 2 venues hosting all of the Winds prelims action, which are the Truist Arena and then Campbell County High School. Truist will host all of the action for Scholastic and Independent Open, as well as Scholastic and Independent World, but Campbell County High School is going to be your home for Scholastic A and Independent A Winds prelims. So let's take a look at what's going on at Truist. We've just got one block of Scholastic Open action, but it ends with a bang with Davies County High School at 10 a.m. You're not going to want to miss their show. They won Scholastic Open last year, and I'm excited to see their show again this year. We've got a quick break, and then we head into one of the more interesting groups for WINS this year, which is WINS Independent Open. For anybody who's watched WINS over the last couple of years, this is an interesting group because there are a lot of new faces. So it's going to be hard to tell what exactly is going to happen, which only adds to the excitement in my opinion. Everything starts at 10:20 a.m. with Convergence Indoor WINS. You've got Strike WINS 2, they're a brand new group. They go on at 10:30 a.m. Forest Hills, they moved up from Independent A last year. They're now in Independent Open. They go on at 10:40 a.m. And then Valhalla WINS, they won the class last year. They go on at 10:50 a.m. So this first chunk is starting off super strong. You've also got LSM West. They also moved up from Independent A last year. They go on at 11:30 a.m. You've got Obsidian WINS. They got second in Independent A last year, and then they moved up once again to Independent Open. They go on at 11:40 a.m. You're not going to want to miss their show. It's really good. Elevate WINS going on at 11:50. And then WINS Independent Open prelims action ends at 12 p.m. with Ethereal WINS. They won Independent A last year and they moved up to Independent Open. So I'm excited to see how they do in this new class as well. So yeah, a lot of new faces, a lot of shuffling around, but if you're gonna watch one block of WINS, I think it should be Independent Open. I think it's going to be incredibly exciting this year. We've got a quick break for lunch and then we head back into WINS Scholastic World starting at 12:50 p.m. with Catawba Ridge High School. They weren't at Dayton last year, so I'm excited to see them perform, but a lot of these other groups are the ones that you would expect to see in the Scholastic World group. You've got Greenfield Central, they've been around for years, Westfield High School, Lake Hamilton, and of course Avon High School, the reigning champions of WINS Scholastic World. They go on at 1:34 p.m. We've got a break, and then we head into WINS Independent World at 2:05 with Strike WINS. They of course won WINS Independent World last year, but you've also got LSM, Horizon Vaquero, and Legacy closing out the day at 2:49 p.m. So I'm excited to see all of those groups at the Truist Arena, but we've also got one more venue to check out, which is Campbell County High School, encompassing WINS Scholastic A and WINS Independent A competition. But something to remember is that all of these groups that are competing at Campbell County High School actually have finals later that day at the Truist Arena, so they're doing double duty. Action at Campbell County High School starts off at 9 a.m. with Gulfport High School. We've got 2 blocks of WINS Scholastic A action going from 9 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. We've got a break, and then we've got WINS Independent A starting at 11:50 a.m. with Carlisle High School, closing out with ICT WINS at 12:04 p.m. A couple of exciting things about these 3 blocks. Hydra WINS is a brand new group, I'm pretty sure, which is sponsored by Atlanta CV. You're not going to want to miss their show. They go on at 11:46 a.m. And a group to watch in WINS Scholastic A is Damien High School. They go on at 10:05 a.m. They won WINS Scholastic A competition last year, so you're not going to want to miss their show. And with that said, that's everything for prelims action for both Percussion and WINS. Just as a reminder, Percussion and WINS World Championships action starts on April 16th and goes to April 19th. Everything is going to be streaming live on FloMarching, but you're also going to want to tune into our YouTube channel and turn on those post notifications because as always, we're going to be doing our live to social blocks there, so you're not going to want to miss that. Be sure to follow us on social media and check out what we've got coming out on the website. We've got a lot of preview content coming your way over the next couple of weeks, and of course, you don't want to miss all of our live coverage of Color Guard World Championships, which happens next week, April 9th through 11th. That's all I've got for you this week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Natalie Shelton. I'll see you next week.